chilling tale behind the enormous mirrors. I've never liked this house. An old inherited home from my grandmother, it's filled with dark corridors and large mirrors covered with red fabric. I always felt like someone was watching me from behind that cloth, but I never dared to unveil the truth. The reason I stayed here was quite trivial. I had just broken up with my boyfriend and needed a place to be alone. I thought this house would provide me with the solitude I sought, but I was gravely mistaken. On the first night, I heard strange sounds from upstairs. I tried to ignore them, but they grew louder over time. I mustered the courage to investigate, but I found nothing but empty, dusty rooms with a musty odor. I returned to my room and attempted to sleep, but I felt an unsettling gaze from the mirrors in front of my bed. I pulled the covers over my head and shut my eyes, hoping it was just my imagination. On the second night, I saw a shadowy figure moving in the hallway. I peeked from behind the door, but I couldn't spot anyone. Just the large mirrors covered in red fabric, almost as if they were concealing something within. I entered my room, locked the door, but I felt something pounding from outside. Terrified, I prayed, hoping it was just the wind. On the third night, I heard cries from the mirror in my room. I approached it, touched the fabric, but felt an icy chill. I removed the cloth and saw the pale face of a young woman, her eyes fixed on me. I was startled and stepped back, but something pulled my leg from under the bed. I screamed and struggled, but no one heard me. I never left this house. An old home that had become my prison, filled with dark corridors and large mirrors concealed under red fabric. I always felt like someone was watching me from behind that cloth, but I never dared to uncover it. I don't know why I agreed to come to this place. A house that had been the silent witness of my terror a few months ago. A house I should have avoided for the rest of my life. But I couldn't refuse my friend's invitation. They gathered here to work on a school project. 5 people in total. 3 girls and 2 boys. Eilina was one of them. I tried to act normal as if nothing was amiss in the house. I sensed a negative aura enveloping the place, as though it wanted to engulf us. I attempted to distract myself by opening my books and laptop, but I couldn't concentrate. I felt as though someone was observing us from behind the large mirrors covered in red fabric. I remembered the face of the young woman who stared at me with hollow eyes and her piercing cries. I shivered and took deep breaths to calm myself. I thought it was all mere imagination, just stress from the school project. I believed nothing would happen to us as long as we didn't unveil the red fabric. But I was wrong, once again. The first incident happened to Dimas, one of my male friends. He needed to use the bathroom, but Rainey, another female friend, was occupying the indoor bathroom. Unwilling to wait, Dimas decided to use the bathroom outside. I didn't even know there was an outdoor bathroom. I only found out when Dimas informed me. He said the bathroom was located at the back of the house, next to the kitchen. I was puzzled about why there was a bathroom there, but I didn't inquire further. Dimas walked toward the outside bathroom, passing through the dark corridors filled with large mirrors concealed behind red fabric. He didn't pay any attention, focusing solely on his goal. However, as he approached the kitchen, he noticed something that made him stop dead in his tracks. He saw a mysterious figure standing at the end of the corridor, right in front of one of the mirrors covered in red fabric. The figure appeared to be a woman, but her face was indistinct. She wore a wet, blood-stained white gown with long black hair partially covering her face. Her hand reached out as if requesting something. Dimas was shocked and frightened. He didn't know who this woman was or what she wanted. He turned around and sprinted back into the house, leaving the figure behind. But he didn't know that he wasn't alone. Behind the red fabric, there were lurking eyes. The second incident occurred to TY, one of my female friends. She was working on a school project about traditional clothing from various regions in Indonesia. She had a magazine with images of these traditional outfits and was cutting them out to paste onto cardboard. I didn't know what was wrong with the magazine. I had no idea what lay behind the images. All I knew was something terrible happened to TY while she was cutting them out. Ty was cutting out an image of Asianese traditional attire, which featured red and black colors. As she cut, she felt a sharp pain in her finger. She screamed and dropped the scissors, seeing blood flowing from her finger. My other friends and I rushed to her side, witnessing the injury, which resembled a bite mark. We asked her what had happened, but TY couldn't respond. She simply pointed towards the cutout image she was working on. We turned our attention to the image, and we were shocked. The image seemed to float in the air as if it had come to life. It twirled before our eyes, showing 2 different sides. On one side, it displayed the Akinese traditional attire with its red and black colors. On the other side, it showed the same young woman's face Dimas had seen in the hallway. The pale, bloodied face that stared at us with hollow eyes. Dimas was the first to react. He panicked and fled to the kitchen, searching for the outdoor bathroom. He hoped to forget the young woman's figure, but he had no idea that she was still waiting. Yet he wasn't alone. Behind the red fabric, there were watching eyes. The third incident happened to me, Lina, the one who had always been the most fearful in this house. I couldn't forget my past experience here when I was trapped alone. I wanted to leave the house, but I couldn't. It was as if something was blocking my way, preventing me from escaping. I felt tied to the house, unable to break free. I tried to find my friends, but I couldn't locate them. I called out their names, but no one answered. I ran through the dark corridors, but I had no idea where to go. I reached the living room where we had worked on our school project. I saw our books and laptops left on the table, but I didn't see any of my friends. I felt lonely and frightened. I gazed at the large mirror in the living room, covered with the same red fabric as the one in my room, which displayed the young woman's face. I felt curious and foolish. I approached the mirror and touched the fabric. I wanted to know if the young woman was still there or if she had vanished. I wanted to know if she would stare at me again or disappear. I removed the fabric and looked into the mirror. I saw my own reflection, but I didn't see the young woman. I felt relieved and disappointed. I turned around to continue my search for my friends when I heard whispers behind me. I couldn't understand the words, but the voice sounded like a lament. I felt something icy touch my shoulder. I turned around again and screamed. The young woman was standing behind me, her pale face inches from mine. Her hollow eyes stared into my soul. I was paralyzed with fear. I couldn't move, couldn't escape. I felt her icy touch on my face as she whispered strange words I couldn't comprehend. She reached out her hand, and I felt a sharp pain in my chest. It was as if something was tearing my heart apart. I screamed in agony as I felt my life slipping away. My friends found me in the living room, lying on the floor, lifeless. They tried to revive me, but it was too late. I was gone. My friends were horrified by what had happened. They didn't know what to do. They tried to call for help, but there was no signal in this house. They decided to leave the house and seek help from the nearest village. They left my lifeless body behind and fled from the house, leaving behind the haunted mirrors covered in red fabric. But they weren't alone. Behind the red fabric, there were lurking eyes. The house had claimed another victim, and it hungered for more.